Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
It's my most favourite time of the year because it's the WrestleTalk Podcast End of Year Awards for 2024. I am Luke Owen, DAD. This is Tempest.
Mary Chrysler.
And this is Oliver Davis.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.
This is coming out the week of Christmas as well. It's like the 2 days before Christmas, in fact.
Oh, happy Christmas Eve.
I'm in Canada.
So we're recording this a little bit before this episode has gone out. But here is how the WrestleTalk Podcast End of Year Awards work. If this is your first time joining us, this is our seventh on our 8th annual. Let me double check this actually. One,
He said
two,
he had
three,
everything
four,
prepped.
5, 6,
Lied.
7. This is our
A
8th.
lie on Christmas.
It's our 8th annual WrestleTalk's Wrestler of the Year, and it'll be the 4th or 5th year actually we've done the WrestleTalk Podcast Awards in this style, which is where we send out a form to all of us, everyone at WrestleTalk.com, some of our top-level pledge hammers, and the WrestleTalk extended family, our moderating team as well for the WrestleTalk Podcast, and they give us back their top 5s in each of the categories of best wrestler, best matches, best pay-per-views, worst matches, worst pay-per-views. Well, I collate all that data together, and then I put it into a little fun Google Excel sheet, and I can read out the results of who is the best wrestler of 2024 for the WrestleTalk End of Year Podcast.
It's the most fun admin of the year.
I genuinely love it.
He makes his little Google form. He sits there adding them all up manually for some reason.
Well, someone messaged me on Blue Sky, was like, I'm trying to do it for my friends. Like, do you have like an automated thing? And I was like, no. People just send me back a text doc and then I just add them in individually.
I think you and Dave Meltzer, when the Hall of Fame season voting opens, he's just there like collating abacuses and bits of paper.
Writing down, like I count through each individual vote, so I can then it's like, oh, this person got 20 nominations and 6 top level nominations, because if you score 5 points, that's a top level nom, which can be that can become important in the actual rankings of things. Maybe you have to rank someone up higher depending on how many votes they've got, but also how many top level nominations they've got. So, are you ready?
Are you ready?
Or, if you prefer, are you ready for a good time?
I think I am. I think I'm ready for a good time.
I'm up for it.
I think I am. I'm just making sure that I did press record. But yes, I am ready for a good time. So here are the people that just missed out on the top 10. So this is 15 through to 11. Io Sky got 5 points, 1 top level nomination. But that was her only nomination that she got, but it was a top level one.
From who?
I'm not going to reveal names.
Pull the receipts.
Bailey got 2 votes and 5 points.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Zack Sabre Jr.
Oh, piss me off. He was on my list.
You know what? I've missed him from my list.
Yeah.
I should have 100% included him.
Here's the thing, 6 points, 5 nominations. So he was always like at the bottom of everyone's list. Though there is his first time in the top 15. He got no nominations last year, but did get one in 2022.
Can you tell us how far off he was the top 10 in points?
2 points.
Oh my God, I probably cost him that.
You deserve a lump of coal
I
in
would've-
your stocking.
I would have definitely put him in at least 4th place.
Yeah.
This is the problem with Zach, though. The kind of people who would vote for Zach would probably have him like 4th or 5th. So not the top level noms that you might get to shove him up into that upper echelon.
That's it, yeah. Because he didn't get any top level noms or even like edge towards the top. 6 points across 5 nominations.
Well, he's not as relevant now that the Labour government is in.
Also for Bailey, fun fact, it's her first nomination that she's received since 2020 when she was number 7 in our Best Wrestler of the Year.
That was a good run with her and Sasha, though.
Very good. Also missing out in the top 10 is Konosuke Takeshita, who also got 6 points across 3 votes. His first time in the top 15, got no nominations last year. And Rhea Ripley just misses out on the top 10 with 7 points across 3 nominations, up from 12th last year.
Well, she just hasn't really had many
Matches.
matches.
Yeah. It is the problem.
Yeah.
I find a lot of times when I'm voting on this sort of thing, if there is an extended layoff, that does knock you down a peg or two. And unfortunately...
Peg. Being the key word there for Rhea.
Indeed. She's not about that anymore. Needs a new sub in like Mysterio. But the latter half of her year just... it's been a lot of just chasing around the same story that a lot of people haven't found that interesting, unfortunately.
It's wild because she is for sure like the biggest star on Raw, like one of, I think, like in the top 3 stars on Monday Night Raw. But she's also had like 4 matches on TV. Like the match she had on against Raquel Rodriguez, they were like, it's her first match on TV in over a year. Wow.
I thought she had like 30. I would have just told you she could have had 30 matches this year.
But in at number 10, who's got this position because Ollie Davis did not vote for Zack Sabre Jr. with 8 points across 3 nominations, Toni Storm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels weird because she hasn't been around since August.
The recency bias would lead you to believe that she wouldn't apply for this, but it just speaks to how strong those first 8 months of the year were for Toni Storm.
Well, it was one of the most anticipated matches going into All In.
For sure it was, yeah. I was so looking forward to that match. I think we were saying it a lot of the time, it's the best AEW women's story they've ever done. And it was like, I was so excited for the match. I thought the match at All In was great as well. But the title scene has sorely missed her since she's been gone.
Yeah.
In at number 9 with 12 points across 5 votes, down from 3rd last year, Gunther.
Yeah.
He was on my list,
He
but
was.
now I feel like that should have been taken by someone else, maybe.
I didn't think, I mean, unfortunately, it's all locked off now, but I didn't think when you sent it across to me, I was like, he's got Gunther on his list, has he?
And, because I wrote that before I included him in one of my biggest, worst bits of 2024, his title reign.
So, yeah, Gunther, I think, I think this might be, it's knocked him down is the world title run that he's had. This shift of character where he's now the not confident Gunther who's like, doesn't really believe in himself anymore as the world champion. Also, the fact he doesn't feel like the most important thing on Raw at the moment. I think at the start of the year, he's really like late last year, because he's got so many votes last year when that great tail end of that IC title run, where he was putting on great matches on TV. That's the Gunther we've been missing in this world title picture, is TV match Gunther.
Yeah, it's tricky too, because like when you look at the Intercontinental Championship run that he had, there aren't a lot of like big stories that they tell. There's a few. The Chad Gable thing and the Sheamus thing were kind of the ones that stick out. But generally, that title reign gets lifted into legendary status through the sheer force of will of the excellence of Gunther's work. How many great matches has he had this year? Like, they've all been good. You won't look and find a bad match. But after the Sami Zayn match at WrestleMania, there's no, like, match of the year contenders from Gunther. And that's what I think a lot of people were looking forward to seeing from him as world heavyweight champion. And we just haven't gotten that.
Yeah.
Like we said in our Survivor Series review, I think the story in a vacuum that they've told is a well-performed and well-told story. But it's not the story I want to see. I don't want to see Crisis of Confidence Gunther. I want to see world beater, you will never end this title reign Gunther. And that formula has worked in 2 previous titles in WWE. I don't really know why we felt we needed to change what wasn't broken.
Yeah, he had the Intercontinental title for the first 4 months of the year. Great match with Sammy at WrestleMania. Then he comes back. Good King of the Ring run and winner.
I love that King of the Ring final as well. That match
with Randy
great.
Orton. You know, botch aside. I thought it made it better, weirdly. And then as soon as he wins the title, it's via Finterference. His biggest thing is probably the roast of Bret Hart. Sorry.
Yeah.
They try and turn him babyface. They split him up from Ludwig Kaiser, and he gets sucked into the Judgment Day vortex.
And now it's like a third wheel in the Judgment Day storyline.
Yeah. This is not a well-booked run.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, unfortunate. I think that's why he has fallen down.
And that's why I voted for Zack Sabre Jr.
In at number 8 with 13 points across 4 votes, one of which was top level, was also 8th last year as well. Main event Jey Uso.
I don't know about that. Off camera, I will ask you who the one person that voted for Jey Uso as Wrestler of the Year is going to be. Listen, I am not immune to the person who is not a work rate guy, but gets massively over. I'm not going to look at his Intercontinental title win and be like, no, I don't know about that. Because look at the reaction that he gets.
It's incredible.
You know? My favorite wrestler as a kid was Jeff Hardy. Not the biggest, greatest wrestler in the world, but my God, he got over. You know? Jey Uso falls into that sort of category.
That's it for me, yeah.
However, the body of work of this year outside of Yeet doesn't exist.
Yeah, well, that's it for me. With like Jey, I think is deserving to be within the top 10 because he is the most over guy. Like that has become the thing in WWE at the moment, is this whole Yeet thing. Like we saw the video of Zilla Fatu doing it at an indie show. The audience there are doing it and kind of like goading him into doing it as well. It is genuinely like an incredibly over part of WWE. But I can't sit here and say, when Jey Uso is booked for a match, I'm excited to see that match that he has. I'm excited to see his entrance, but it's also one half of one of the worst matches I've seen this year.
Yeah, the Mania match against Jimmy.
Yeah. And then he had the title match with Damian Priest like the month after, which was, it was all right.
Yeah, it's fine.
And,
But
like, I think the Braun Breaker match, the best thing about it is the crowd reaction to his title win.
yeah, I mean, a world title match on pay-per-view where he loses and a 1-month IC title reign does not a Wrestler of the Year make, in my opinion, regardless of how over you are.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really popular people, but I would say that Rhea Ripley is not on this list, again, because the body of work of this year actually isn't that impressive. So maybe it's just sour grapes from me, but Jey Uso didn't factor into my list.
The best thing of his IC title reign was actually not even him. It was Braun Breaker squaring off to Jacob Fatu.
Yeah.
I would argue.
Yeah.
I would argue the best part of it is he fixed the belt.
Yes,
put
true,
some
actually.
color on the
Yeah, put
belt
some
and
color
turned
on
it
it.
into a good title. So maybe I rescind this, and for the sake of saving the IC belt, he deserves a spot on this list.
In at number 7, and I know Tempest is not going to like this one, with 15 points across 4 nominations, half of which were top level. Say his name and he appears, Joe Hendry.
Huh.
His first time in the top 10 has made it onto this list.
So
He was on my long list.
being a meme for a month gets you Wrestler of the Year.
Hey, you won
What's
the
your
Turkey Bowl.
criteria for Wrestler of the Year?
Having anything that people care about for longer than a month, apparently.
He was like one of the most over things in wrestling for that summer period. You know, when NXT were doing their crossover stuff with TNA, that was the name that the NXT audience wanted to see come across from TNA. He was so over, had a great campaign here in the UK to get his song really high up in the charts as well. He was genuinely a big thing within wrestling. But it is amazing how quickly it did sort of like burn out. And now he's going on his quest. He's going for the Christmas #1 again. And I think he'll probably get a Rumble entry. And I think that might... He is WWE bound. And I think there are a lot of really big things and great things for Joe Hendry in his career. And I think the two top level nominations certainly come from people like, I was just really excited for that sort of month period. I'll be honest, he didn't feature on my list. But I think there is an argument to be made for Joe Hendry to be one of... certainly the most over wrestlers of the year. And him not being a part of WWE or AEW, I think, speaks volumes to that.
I don't know. Because even in the promotion that he is in, he's not been booked well at all either.
No.
Yeah, I was going to say, I cannot fathom why TNA did not put the title on him.
What? Because Nick Nemeth's there. He was once in WWE.
That's it.
It is TNA
He was
after
once
all.
a WWE mid-carder. Ergo, he should be the TNA World Champion.
We don't have a time machine to be able to test this hypothesis, but in 2011, I bet you there would have been people that gave Zack Ryder top level nominations for getting over on social media and then having like a 3-week push on TV. I think that would also have been a mistake.
This is why democracy doesn't always work.
Yeah.
The last 2 picks we've trashed.
Well, let's see if we can pick it up a little bit with number 6 with 18 points, 5 votes, one of which was top level. His first time in the top 10 since 2022, where he came 8th. CM Punk.
At number 6.
Interesting.
At number 6.
Okay, I can accept that. Was he even in my one? Was he in my top 5?
I can't remember.
I don't think he was, actually. Because, again, it's body of work stuff. He was one of the best characters on TV. He had that great Hell in a Cell match with Drew McIntyre. I didn't love the other 2 matches. But yeah, he's had a weird 2024. Royal Rumble match. Special guest referee match.
Strap match.
Strap game show match.
The Mario Party match.
Hell in a Cell match. War Games match.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to injure the guy.
And they succeeded at one of them.
The safest one.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the recency bias that affects all humans actually works very strongly in Punk's favor, because I think the best stuff he's done on TV this year has been the Hell in a Cell deal and the War Games involvement.
Yeah.
To the point where there is such a massive gulf between like the Roman, Cody, Punk tier of WWE stars and everyone else, that if he just shows up and does well for a little while, that immediately gives him a massive boost. He saved Hell in a Cell. He brought it back from the dead. And that's going to earn points for a lot of people. And I can't argue with that, even if I think the other 3/4 of the year are not particularly special.
It's because he's injured for some of it. But I think even when he was on TV, like it was a case of like, oh, Punk's going to come out and say something. That's going to be really good. Because his feud with Drew McIntyre, I think, has been WWE's best feud of the year. And I do think the Hell in a Cell match was WWE's best match of the year as well. In my humble opinion, I thought they were both sensationally great.
I think the thing with Punk's year, why I think he deserves number 6, but not in the top 5, is that everything he has done has been awesome. Like the matches generally really good. The angles he's had have been some of either the Drew McIntyre stuff, which is like the really well told story.
Drew McIntyre muff.
Yeah. The Drew McIntyre muff.
What is happening?
Sword. And the Roman stuff around War Games and the Heyman favor has genuinely been a huge social media mover. So that's been a huge success there as well.
In at number 5 with 22 points, 6 votes, 2 of which were top level. His first time in the top 10 since he won it in 2020, Drew McIntyre.
Oh, good for Drew.
Yeah.
Yeah, he deserves that.
He
carried the CM Punk feud.
He did come 13th in 2021, so didn't crack the top 10. This is his first time back in the top 10 since he won it.
So he won 2020.
Won 2020.
Which I feel like, love the guy, but that was a well done for your stuff in the pandemic.
Thanks, Drew.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing this task no one else could ever want to have to do.
It's a lot like Bailey, really, where he's like, you really did save this company. You were saving these television shows during this terrible time.
Yeah, it was a terrible show. You had the Splinter Cell angle with Randy Orton, but here's you were the best wrestler of that year. Whereas this year, I almost prefer his number 5 performance than 2020's number 1 performance.
Yeah, totally.
It's like winning the MVP in a really bad season versus having like the 5th best in a loaded, stacked all-star lineup of a year.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think this was the best year of Drew McIntyre's career. Funny enough, like, main event push. Granted, maybe I would think otherwise if this took place in a non-pandemic world, but from a character perspective, he has the best match he's ever had in Hell in a Cell. He's had a storyline that people have cared about throughout the entire year, regardless of how you feel about the bracelet stuff and the matches that they had at the beginning of the feud. He has been, in many ways, the star of Raw when the other half of his big feud of the year was largely absent.
Yeah, he was carrying that Punk feud a lot when Punk wasn't there for it because he was on TV every week doing it. And was really good.
He won the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania.
He did, in a really good match as well. I mean, it's one of those sort of 7-minute just spam your finisher matches, but hot dog, it's really, really good. And the thing I love about Drew in this year, and why I agree, I think this is one of the best years that he's had, is it's all character work. Like, his character is so compelling on TV. When I was doing those Raw reviews, I was like, he's my favorite character in WWE because everything he's saying is right. He's just going about it the wrong way. But he truly believes what he is doing is right.
He's so good. That sort of, he was the original hater in this era of WWE, and now everyone's basing their character off of him almost with Kevin Owens. It's the justified villain.
Yeah. Absolutely. I thought he's had a great year. We now jump up from 22 points to 45 points.
Big scoring, boys. And girls, maybe.
In at number 4 with 45 points, no top level, but 17 nominations, up from 6th, Swerve Strickland.
Good.
Yeah. Really pleased about this. I think he's had a stellar year.
Well, yeah. I think a lot of people looked at last year and coming on real strong after All In as like, oh, he's a star. He's a made man. They did the thing. He's pushed. He's a main event guy. But you gotta punch that home. You gotta go all the way and complete that. I don't want to say finish the story, other connotations. But they did that this year. And they not only gave him the belt, but they let him run with it and then gave him all the tools to be the top guy of AEW. I have said it a lot recently, but that match he has with Will Ospreay is one of the most incredible main event matches in terms of solidifying a guy's push. He's been world champion for a couple months at that point, but beating the guy everyone thinks is going to beat him and proving like not only does he beat him, but he is a level above Will Ospreay at that point. I can't say enough good about him. He's one of the best things on Dynamite for the entire year.
It speaks really well to Will as well, because that was Will, the reports are that Will wanted to do that match because he knew that a lot of the chatter about him coming in was like, okay, when's he going to be the world champion? All In's just around the corner. He's going to win the world title at All In. It's like, no, I want to put a squash this because he's our top guy. He's our champion. Beat me. Put me on pay-per-view against him and have him beat me and have him beat me clean.
But we all know the real dance partner. It's Hangman Page.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Swerve, the reason Swerve's at number 4 is it isn't because of the AEW World Title for me. It isn't even because of the Danielson match at All In. It's because of Hangman Page.
Yeah.
That feud. It's the brilliant 3-way with him and Joe. When Page taps out, so Swerve can't win it. It's the freaking syringe in the mouth.
Yeah, It's burning down a house.
Yeah.
Because when Swerve and Joe get that one-on-one match, I didn't love it. And then when Swerve becomes sort of, for a bit, it becomes a bit of a Team AEW one-dimensional babyface. It's all when Hangman Page isn't around him. As soon as Page comes back, it's like, oh yeah, there's the sicko.
I mean, spoilers. Hangman Page not in the top 10.
He's not had that kind of year.
Got 4 points, which is the same as Dominic Mysterio and Ethan Page.
What company?
Did people misspell Hangman Page and write Ethan?
No,
autocorrect accident.
I did check. I did message the person who voted for Ethan Page. Was like, Ethan Page, and they were like, yeah. I've given him 4 points.
The one person.
Yeah.
One person had him at number 2.
Yeah.
I'm going to need to see some receipts after this.
They made a very compelling argument as to why they gave him that nomination.
It was, holy fuck, Ethan.
You won't have seen this at all, not being on social media these days. No. On a episode of NXT, he did a very basic shoulder block off the apron. And someone took that clip online and was like, "Oh my, holy F, Ethan," as if he's like the most incredible spot they've ever seen. And that has become a bit of a meme of everyone just making fun of it. Anytime someone does a basic move, it's like, "Holy F!"
Hey, I remember in the first Saudi show, and John Cena and Triple H traded shoulder tackles. Crowd were going mad for it.
I don't believe you.
In at number 3, also with 45 points, but with 16 votes and 2 top-level nominations, which pushes him above Swerve Strickland, up from 4th last year, Bryan Danielson.
Yeah. Oh.
Do you want
R.I.P.
He's just the best, man.
He is.
He's just the best. Like, we were there for All In, the match with Swerve. I've said it multiple times over, floods of tears for that match, because that was when we did the podcast the following day, and I told it was like truly magic. Because he's just a magical wrestler. He's just the best. When he was doing the All In presser for the Texas show, I just saw him in people's videos and I was like, it's Danielson! Because I was just excited to see him again. I've really missed seeing Danielson wrestle. Also, he's had a really good year this year. Like the Zack Sabre Jr. match was great. The Okada match was really great. The Swerve match was really great. And the Will Ospreay match at Dynasty is, for my money, the best match of the year.
Yeah. It's been... Bryan Danielson has become a wrestler who is virtually guaranteed a top 5 finish in these things just by being Bryan Danielson, because he is just that good, you know? And if he had more of like a world beater run where he wins a bunch of matches and is kind of like pushed as the unbeatable, last run of the dragon type thing, I think you could have seen him as the wrestler of the year in this award. But like, outside of the summer where he wins the O and wins the title and then loses it shortly thereafter, he's never the guy who is at the forefront of AEW this year. And that, I think, hurts his standing a little bit. I say hurts, he's still like top 3 just by being excellent. But The other matches were all fantastic. You'd even leave out like the Eddie Kingston match, the Hechicero match on Collision that made Hechicero into a global superstar. It's just been another one of those years, and unfortunately, I don't think we're ever going to get another one out of him again, most likely. But it's the run of the greatest of all time.
He is the greatest of all time.
Yeah, you're totally right. He's had all those great matches, but he's going to have great matches. Some of the best of the year, some of the best of all time. He's going to be a great character that everyone gets behind. It's almost an open goal to book the all-time last year retirement story, and I feel like AEW whiffed that, unfortunately, by not doing the things I wanted them to do.
That being said, All In, you said it.
Yeah.
It is one of the most magical nights I've ever experienced as a wrestling fan.
Genuinely the best things I've ever seen.
That alone put him into my top 5.
Yeah, he was-
relatively
that
high.
McGuinness spot.
Yeah. He was in my my top 5 as well. In at number 2, jumping up from 45 points to 60 points here. 20 nominations, 3 of which were top level, up from 5th last year. The current WWE champion at the time of this recording, Cody Rhodes. We're recording this before Saturday Night's Main Event. I should have just said Cody Rhodes, not dated this video.
Yeah, Kevin Owens is not winning it.
Yeah.
Let's not get too
Prove
much.
me right. I want it more than anything. Kevin Owens is your current WWE champion.
Cody Rhodes in at number 2.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's impressive. I think he was my number 1. I've totally blanked on who I voted for. And you can't deny he's probably had the most rise. Because last year he was going to be one of the top guys at the company. But the interactions with Rock over the road to WrestleMania period, winning the Rumble, winning the title and finishing the story at WrestleMania 40, that has genuinely put Cody from like the biggest star of the normies to that stratospheric level alongside Roman Reigns, John Cena, CM Punk. And somehow I don't begrudge the guy. I don't hate him for being such a lovely baby face.
Well,
even though
it.
Kevin Owens is right.
Well, I think that is it for me. I think one of the most incredible things about Cody Rhodes is it's so difficult to be that type of champion in 2024. I mean, maybe it is easier to do it now because like times are very much different. But they tried to do this with Cena. They tried to do this with they tried to do this with a bunch of people to be the blue-eyed babyface top guy. And the crowds never really got into any of them because what they wanted were like more edgier characters. Cody Rhodes is just a white meat babyface, as they would say in the industry, and it is over like the Dickens. It is incredible how much of a star he is.
It's interesting. I think you could really do like a real deep dive onto this and just like how cynical are wrestling fans actually at their core at this point? Do they just want to see Superman but done well?
Yeah.
Because this is the thing. Cody Rhodes is different from a lot of these different guys because he's not Cena. He's not what they tried to mold Roman into. He's not this annoying jackass that has to do the little quips and all this sort of
jokes.
thing. Yeah, he's not that guy. He's just the good guy.
Just earnest.
And some people just want to cheer for the good guy. And he has been the best good guy that WWE has had in decades. I had Cody Rhodes at number 1 for a long time on this year-long reign we've had. He's just so undeniable. It's a perfect word to use him at this point. Because, man, I listen to a lot of people say they're going to turn on him as soon as they put the title on him. Bullshit. No, they are not. Absolutely not, because he's excellent. And you just need to be excellent to succeed at this level. And you just haven't seen that many examples of WWE putting someone in a position to succeed like that in such a long time. I love this man. I wish he didn't get sucked back into the bloodline vortex for like a 4 or 5 month stretch there during the summer, because the early part of this run was like the most refreshing title reign I had seen in wrestling in I don't know how long.
It's wonderful having a WWE champion on TV every single week, showing up, looks incredible, and all like great matches with AJ. The two of the Backlash and at Clash as well. I think he got the best match out of Solo this year.
I completely agree.
I think I really enjoyed the tag match with him and Roman. And again, like you go back to the start of the year, stuff he was doing with The Rock was really, really great. And now we're into the latter part of the year and he's doing stuff with Kevin Owens. Is so good. Like he has been awesome all year long.
Favorite thing on TV, and I hope he loses the title. I mean, he has lost the title.
And business has improved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people, me included, last year were worried that if they did take the belt off Roman, maybe not having Roman attached to the top championship would see a decline in house show and TV attendance. But it's at worst stayed the same, because now it is starting to dip off slightly. But yeah, the first few months of his run really picked up. They're still setting record gates.
Which means at number 1, we jump up from 60 points to 84. 19 votes, 13 of which were top level. Also last year's number 1, it's Will Bygard Ospreay.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Roman Reigns. I genuinely forgot. Excellent.
Yeah, cool. It's Will.
Yeah.
Like, what a year this man has had. Like, Will has always had, like, the 5-star years. Like, when he was in New Japan and stuff, it was every match he'd have. That's just another 5-star classic from Will Ospreay there. But now that he's in a North American company, is featured on North American TV, which is getting much more reach than the stuff he was doing while he was in New Japan or here on our British Isles. Now it's just like, you look like, I mean, spoilers for the next episode. His name is going to feature a lot when it comes to the best matches of the year. Because you made this joke in the office. He had like a match with Roderick Strong, which was like 4.5 stars. Like, that's a dud in Will Ospreay's world.
He's just the best.
Yeah.
Like, Cody Rhodes, Swerve, and Will Ospreay were my top 3, and they shuffled around a lot this year. And you look at like the charts and the numbers and everything, and I think Cody Rhodes being the WWE champion of the hottest promotion, the biggest promotion, that gives him a lot of points. And the escalation of where Swerve was from a year ago and slightly before really gave him a lot of points. But just through the sheer force of excellence, Will Ospreay forced his way into being Wrestler of the Year. And you know that when you buy an AEW pay-per-view, you're going to see a Match of the Year contender with Will Ospreay involved. And for a company that has largely built itself around great matches, to have the guy who has more great matches more often than anyone else in the world by a significant margin, he's a perfect fit for AEW and has also had really good storylines throughout this year as well. Like, it's not just the matches. I think his MJF storyline, after having seen the whole thing, is actually very well told.
It's pretty good.
With great matches kind of interspliced throughout. The Swerve deal, although it was one pay-per-view cycle, was very good. And this Don Callis family story has been one of the highlights of AEW since All In, where there haven't been very many otherwise.
I've said this on a few things now, but what I really love about Will is not just that he has these great matches. He's an incredible presence on TV. He does promos, and it's just Will. Like, he doesn't cut promos. He just talks into a microphone as Will. He's got such a mind for this business. Because, like, we talked about the Swerve thing earlier, where he came in and was like, he knew that he was being talked about a lot. So he was like, well, okay, have the top champion beat me, because you need to set the precedent that it's okay to lose to the top champion and you shouldn't be ashamed to do that. And then at the end of the year, it's going out of his way to make Kyle Fletcher look like a star. And that has led to Kyle Fletcher then having a great run in the C2 off the back of what Will set out to do going into Full Gear.
It's really unique that a wrestler can come into a promotion not having been in WWE beforehand, and in his rookie year be in the position of making other people's years.
Yeah.
So Kyle Fletcher, of course, Swerve Strickland. Ricochet, I don't think Ricochet really works in AEW as much unless he is paired with Ospreay in the early few weeks.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But yeah, it's also before, in previous, we knew, because we would like, we know the guy. We know he's a good promo. And there'll be a couple of promos here and there that will get shared around from New Japan where it just called Kenny Omega a C word over and over again.
He says it a lot.
He says it a lot.
He says a lot in that promo.
And that was his main concern about going to an English-speaking product. So I might swear all the time. I'm not even mean to. But I don't think people were aware of what a good, passionate and sincere promo he is. Like, I believe him. Kind of like that. I think that's one of Cody's big selling points, is Before, he was the guy who had all the good matches, the best matches you've ever seen. But now he's in AEW, and you can see him week to week, and you can see him cut English language promos more often. You see his actual... Oh, no, you're the total package. You are a fully formed best wrestler in the world.
Yeah. I think that is a very underrated factor in a lot of these things, is he is a phenomenal TV performer.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people in both companies that just aren't, and may be great wrestlers in the ring and able to tell great storylines and story matches and everything, but they're not a presence on TV. They can't make you care about what they're saying. They can't say it with emotion and have a great promo and do a great angle and all the layouts of all this. But Will can just do it all.
Do you know what's great about Will as well? I'm just thinking about like his connection to the crowd. A lot of like wrestler theme songs that have chants kind of attached to them are baked into the theme song. Like Seth Rollins' "Oh" is in the theme.
Mercedes Moné's
CEO is in the theme. There was another one I heard on Raw recently. I was like, oh, that's just part of the theme, and it kind of encourages people to sing along with it. Ospreay is just a crowd reaction that Will conducts, and he knows exactly how to time out his entrance to make sure to get the best out of all of those reactions.
Well, Cody Rhodes is similar in that I would say that is not designed to be sung along to.
Woe is not.
People love doing it. Yeah.
Woe is that was an audience decision that this is the bit we're going to make part of the song. Yeah, so there it is. Will Ospreay in at number 1.
Good top 6, that is.
For the first time ever in WrestleTalk history, our first ever back-to-back winner of Wrestler of the Year. So just to run through in case one hasn't seen it, 2017 was Kazuchika Okada. 2018, Hiroshi Tanahashi, which I argued vehemently against Oli Davis.
I pulled rank on that one.
Pull rank. I wanted it to be Walter. And Laurie wanted it to be Walter as well. And Oli pulled rank.
Well, I think, I was proven right in the long term. Who's Walter?
In 2019, it was Will Ospreay. 2020, Drew McIntyre. 2021, Bryan Danielson. 2022, Jon Moxley. And then 23 and 24, Will Ospreay.
So he's a 3-time winner.
He's a 3-time winner. That is a split of 4 stars from AEW, 5 from WWE, and 1 from TNA. Missing out this year. MJF, second last year. Only got 2 nominations this year. It's his first time not in the top 10 since 2021.
Wasn't around for half a year. Then he took off another month after All In. And yeah, now he's back with Adam Cole again.
Sami Zayn falls out of the top 10. Got 0 nominations this year.
That I find surprising. Yeah. Hasn't had the big storyline type things since the Chad Gable feud ended, but has just been kind of consistently excellent throughout the year.
I love his interactions with Jey Uso. Him going back into the bloodline, I think, has been really good. I was surprised to not get a single nomination this year.
I think he's a bit of the furniture currently.
It could be.
After the highs of the last couple of years.
Orange Cassidy falls out of the top 10. 0 nominations for Orange Cassidy this year. The same for Roman Reigns. Last year's number 10 got 0 nominations this year.
No nominations at all?
No nominations at all.
Damn.
Growth.
29 wrestlers got nominations. So 29 names got nominated compared to the 40 that were nominated last year. And some first-timers getting nominations in the WrestleTalk Podcast Awards. Luke Jacobs, Chelsea Green, Trick Williams, Obafemi, Claudio Castagnoli, Gabe Kidd, and Ethan Page. So,
I see Luke Jacobs on there. Was he yours?
It was not mine, no.
Wow, I thought for sure you would have put him like 5th or something.
No, I think I had Zach at my number. I was one of those.
Oh, I'm sorry.
A man of taste.
I'm
It was
sorry.
one of my number 5s. So yeah, there you go. That is our Wrestler of the Year. Let us know in the comments down below if you agree with this list. What's your personal list and who is your favorite wrestler? Who's your best wrestler of 2024? Thank you for an amazing year we've had on the WrestleTalk Podcast. Tomorrow, it will be the best matches of 2024. So make sure you are subscribed with the notifications enabled to get that when it goes live. Till then, I've been Luke and DAD. This has been Tempest.
Merry Crisis.
And that has been Oli Davis.
Jam that Christmas.
Jam that jam.